All right, here we go. We have a bonus module for you today, preparing for camp and how to get the most out of it. Two very important subjects. The game plan for today. In this bonus module, I thought it would be helpful to pull from my knowledge of attending 20 plus basketball camps and give you some tips to prepare for camp or get your son or daughter ready for camp. Most overnight camps will list the necessary items, but I'm going to go ahead and list some additional items you may want to consider bringing to camp. Some of these will apply to day camps as well. It's not just all overnight. And we'll wrap up this module with what your son or daughter can do to get the most out of camp and make sure your money isn't wasted, which is important as well. Starting off right now, what to bring. Definitely here for a day camp, you definitely want to bring some money into the camp, deposit it into that camp bank, or also called a camp store. It's not a must, but being a camper myself, it's definitely nice to have some Gatorade during a break, maybe some snacks. So go ahead and deposit some money. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but it's always the electrolytes that come with the Gatorade, the sugar, it's replenishing, it's quenching, it's nice to have. The overnight camp. Here's some overnight camp things. In addition to those items recommended by the camp, those toiletries, the sheets, the bedding, the pillow, the towels, all of those recommended items. Check out the camp and see what they recommend to bring. Here's some items that, just from my own experience, I think you should bring as well. Late night snacks. The camper's definitely going to be hungry after burning all those calories. Even if the breakfast, lunch, and dinner is all you can eat, I always remember being hungry. My go-to snack was combos. The pretzels with the cheese, I could snack on those all night. Money for late night pizza is something very popular at camp. I think every overnight camp I've ever been to has done it. Usually the camps will organize it themselves, so it's good that the camper has some money on them, some cash to buy this pizza. If the camp doesn't do it, I remember organizing it ourselves, just calling and organizing pizza with some of the friends that you've made at camp. But definitely bring some extra cash to buy that late night pizza because they're going to be hungry. BioFreeze, another good thing to bring. It's a pain relieving gel. It's great for those early morning sore muscles to loosen up, to wake up. You can put it on after breakfast so you don't smell and annoy anybody at breakfast. I probably wouldn't have done it as much when I was young, middle school age, but once I got into high school, you stop caring about putting gel on your legs for the smell, in case you might get made fun of or something. But at some point, your muscles are so sore that it's more important to put the biofreeze on. You don't care what you smell. It's just playing basketball. No one really cares. Ibuprofen is another good thing to bring for the aches and sore muscles, especially at night. Might help them sleep a little bit if they're really having some pain. Allergy meds, good thing to bring because you never know what kind of dorm you'll be staying in. I've stayed in dorms with carpet before, and you don't want to have an allergic reaction, some very congested things, whatever allergies that your camper may have. So bring the allergy meds just in case. This is a really important one. Band-aids and tape for blisters. I always used to get blisters at camp because you just play more basketball than at any other time in your life. I mean, it could be 10 to 12 hours of basketball. Your feet just aren't used to that wear and tear, the rubbing. So bring a good pack, little first aid blister kit to camp with you. The camper can actually bring it to camp as well, not just leave it in their dorm. Extra pair of shoes, piggybacking off of the same blister theme. Always want to bring an extra pair of shoes or two extra pairs in case the go-to pair of kicks is causing bad blisters or some other issue with the shoe. Something breaks, the sole has a rips or something like that. Always good to bring extra pair of shoes. A pro tip here, never want to break in new shoes at camp. Definitely start that process at least a week before camp. Give it a few hours to play because like I said, you're going to be playing so much basketball. You want to have as least likely as possible for any blisters or foot injuries or anything like that. Definitely don't want to break in those new shoes. Extra pair of shoelaces is good. I've seen camps actually recommend this because you're playing so much, the shoelaces just tend to rip, especially if it's an older pair of shoes. So bring an extra pair of shoelaces, maybe two, just in case the original pair rips. Cards, it's a fun thing to do. It kills time at night, a good way to bond and have fun with other players. Some camps you might not have time to play cards, but if it's a more of a leisure camp and you get the 90-minute, 2-hour break and they let kids swim during the break at the dorm or hotel, wherever they're staying, there's plenty of time to play cards. I did it at a couple camps. It's great to just have some fun and kick back. It's a good thing to do at night too, when you're just hanging around with your teammates or some friends you made at camp. So it's a good thing to bring just for fun. Bluetooth speaker, great for getting ready in the morning and chilling at night. Although in the morning, usually you want to wake up 5 minutes before you have to leave, so you just throw on some basketball clothes and brush your teeth and maybe splash some water on your face and then head out to breakfast. So maybe not so much for the morning, but definitely good for chilling at night. Shower sandals are a good thing to bring if you're going to a community bathroom. You're going to be sharing it with maybe 20 or 30 different people. Definitely don't want to get that athlete's foot. So they're like $1 at Walmart. So buy those and get them for your camper. This is important here too. Buy lots of spare shirts or bring lots of spare shirts and socks. If the camper is playing hard, they're playing all day, they're going to get really sweaty. So I think it's a good idea. I recommend having a shirt for morning, even underwear, morning, noon, and night, a different pair, just so it's a fresh pair. You're not playing in sweaty clothes. Also good to have several pairs of socks. Keeping feet dry, not playing in wet socks will lessen that friction and help avoid blisters. Another pro tip, if the camper doesn't go back to the dorm for lunch and dinner to change, they can bring a small bag of clothes and anything else they may need, like blister band-aids, with them to the gym. It's one of those small little Nike sacks that you can throw over your shoulder, those popular bags. They can bring that. You don't want to put any cell phones or probably any money in it, just in case you never know what's going to happen with the bag. Could lose it, could get stolen. Probably not, but you never know. But you can pack as whatever you want into that bag, bring it to the gym, and they can change out their shirts. I did this at probably every camp that we weren't going back to the dorm for lunch and dinner, just because it's good to have fresh clothes, and it's like you're a new person when you get a new shirt on and a new pair of socks. And then the last thing here, I'm going to call it any other chapstick items, which is anything else essential to that camper. Quick, semi-embarrassing story. Back in 6th grade, I had a little chapstick addiction where I had to put chapstick on several times throughout the day. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it happened, but my lips just couldn't produce their own moisture for whatever reason. The problem is I left for camp, didn't bring any chapstick, so in the middle of camp I was licking my lips a bunch. It was they were getting all swollen and red and they were annoying me throughout the day. I had to call my dad. He drove over a 2-hour round trip just to bring this chapstick to me because I needed it. So think about any chapstickish items, any essential items that your camper may need, and pack those because you don't want to have to make that round trip. Maybe it's an inhaler for asthma, something like that. You never want to forget that. So bring those essential items so you don't have to drive out 2, 3, 4 hours to camp after work one day. My dad was pretty awesome. He went out and did it. But think about it, plan ahead so that you definitely don't have to do that. Last thing here in the module, we just talked about some essentials or things to bring in addition to the essentials. And here's a tip on how to get the most out of camp. The rookie mistake here is not remembering the drills and lessons learned at camp. The best way to remember those drills, those lessons learned, get the most out of camp is for the camper to bring a notepad, a pen, and write down at the end of the day or at lunch any drills, lessons learned that they picked up. Maybe it's a new dribbling drill, offensive move, defensive technique. Leadership lessons are good to write down too, especially when they start picking them up at the advanced camps. Writing it down will just make it easier for them to recall later on. And I know as a parent, it might be difficult to get your son or daughter to do this, but at least buy them the notepad and the pen and give them a chance to write it down because it really will help them recall it, burn that memory into their brain, and work on those drills after the camp. Keep the camp paying for itself way longer after it's over. All right, and that'll wrap up our preparing for camp bonus module here for you. We talked about items that you may want to bring to the overnight camp in addition to the essentials, things like extra shoelaces, blister supplies, a Bluetooth speaker. Gave you the best tip, bringing that pen and paper and jotting down some notes so that your son or daughter can get the most out of camp. I hope this module will help your son or daughter be prepared for camp and have an amazing basketball camp experience.